on to what's already out there. I mean, salmon can go on forever about the community. I mean, this seems, it's just passion.
So for the
where we're going, in this decision,
So the question for the people at the back is the salmon example that's on your table an example of a relatively complete SECOA for a particular value?
That's a good question. It's of the three that were provided, it's the least advanced. But the point that you brought up, that you can go day and day and day on salmon, that what we're looking for is we need to distill the information down on the salmon that is going to be pertinent to the planning process. And so in the breakout session, that's what we'll be looking for. But the salmon, that is just only time enough to really pull in one indicator, the catch indicator.
Okay.
Oh, well, the cultural aspect of it will be addressed in the cultural values part, subsistence, and cultural and traditional use. That it's what?
Okay, so
Well, but let me just.
I guess that you label cultural value of salmon as being subsistence, but yet it seems to imply that the 150-year-old commercial fishery has no cultural value.
Oh, I didn't. No, I did. Okay, no, I didn't mean that. And
I've left commercial fishing just to catch data, primarily because of the point you raised. It's extremely complex. I need direction on that sector in order to move it further. I also have a number of data requests out there that take us up to 6 weeks to really hear. So what I've done is I've just started into it, and then I decided to close it off and wait until I get some better direction as to what we do with commercial fishing.
okay, thanks for that.
but
Well, this is can I just say that this is the kind of discussion we want to have in the breakout session for that value. So let's just accelerate this conversation. We got
Rick,
two more
Rick,
questions.
I just wanted to say though that that the marine transportation or the ocean recreation are both more advanced. So those would give you a better read in terms of the kind of breadth that we're aiming for.
Okay, I just need to check in. I had said that there was time for 4 questions, but in fact we've eroded your coffee time. So I just need to get some direction from the group. There's all kinds of questions, most of which I believe will be answered in, I don't really know what your questions are, but if they relate to process of the SECOA, they will be answered in the breakout session, because I do have a little bit of direction to give you as to how we're going to proceed in those discussions. So can I, in the interest of time, I've got 6 people that I've made eye contact with who have questions, but that will take us to 11 o'clock, and then we aren't getting there as far as having the kind of detailed discussion. So I would like to propose that we take like a 5 to 7 minute coffee break. The coffee was freshened a little while ago. And I will work with those people to make sure I've got their questions, including yours, Tim. And we'll get back to you sort of around the lunch hour on those things as a group, so that we can air your questions. And so if you've got a question, somebody else might have the same question. But can we try and get to those breakout sessions? Because I have a sense that a lot of these questions will be answered as we start having this discussion. Is that, I got some heads nodding. Let's take, well, before you break, I need 1 more minute. On the table, you'll see that there's a stack of papers. And so what we're asking you to do in the breakout sessions is we're asking you to take a look at these. And from your personal perspective, we're going to pause for 5 or so minutes at the beginning of each session. And we're going to ask you to fill in what you think is an important observation. And then we're going to ask you to make sort of bullet points under the three topics that Gary spoke to. So issues, trends, or interactions within that value. So we're going to talk about, right after you take a little coffee break, in this part of the room, BC breakouts room number 1, we're going to talk about marine transportation. So people who want to talk about marine transportation should be here. And at the start of the session, we'll ask you to reflect and make a note of your reflection on those forms. Now, this is an important way of capturing information because on that form, we also ask you to include your contact information. Because like we said at the beginning, this is the start of a process to gather information. And we won't have time to have the full kind of discussion that you would like to have. And we recognize that. So let's get it down on paper. Then we're going to go around the room and we're going to ask everybody to contribute as time permits. So keep in mind those values. We want balanced airtime. We want to give everybody a chance to participate. Really, we just want to get a marker down that the study team needs to be looking at these kinds of issues.